Welcome to the Fly Route Pod. Whether it's your first time listening to any of our videos or you're a return listener, do us a favor. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
All right. We are going to get into our Rodgers roundtable. I've been very excited to bring you all this information. So I'm just going to download everybody who hasn't been super deep into this on everything that's going down. Now, Rodgers is clearly unhappy, decided to distance himself from the team, not show up to voluntary OTAs, and almost the beginning of training camp until Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers came to a deal. Now, Aaron comes back. He's going to play this year, but he originally had 2 years left on his contract. They're going to void that second year. The voiding of that second year is important because that means Aaron Rodgers, after this season, only has 1 year left on his deal. But most importantly, the voiding of that second year makes the Packers unable to use the franchise tag on Aaron Rodgers, which guarantees last year is the only year that they can have him on contract. It prevented Aaron Rodgers from being fined from any of the things that he missed, etc., and shifted his cap costs down, which the Packers desperately needed this year, to around $10 million. Now, the kicker for that is it makes next year's cap cost $47 million, which should make it financially prohibitive for the Packers to keep him on the roster unless Aaron Rodgers is willing to re-up, renegotiate, and change his deal once more for the Packers. And this is where people are getting the concept of basically gentleman's agreement, that Aaron gets to go and part ways with the Packers next year, because unless he wants to stay, it'll be quite difficult to keep him on. Now, we know that if the Packers trade him, they'll save a lot in the cap. And I now want an overall holistic take about what people are thinking and kind of have going on with this Aaron Rodgers situation. So I got a couple people that are willing to come through, share their thoughts. I'm going to ask them some questions, and I'm going to bring the first person on right now. So I'm bringing you all Jake. Jake, introduce yourself. Let everybody know about you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Jake. I write a football blog online about fantasy football, and I cover everything. I'm really not just a fantasy guy. I try and dig into every aspect of the team, do lots and lots of research, because I realize that, one player's stats can change drastically year to year for all kinds of different reasons, and you have to, be filled in on as much information as possible so you can get that going right.
All right, fantastic. Your relationship to the Packers, give us a little bit of insight on that.
Well, I live here in Wisconsin. I'm from Madison, and I live here now. So I grew up a Packers fan. I mean, I guess when I was really little, I didn't care that much. But once I did start to care, I had Brett Favre, and that was a good time. That was fun to watch. And after that, we got the nice blessing of getting Aaron Rodgers right after that. So we went from Hall of Fame quarterback to even better quarterback. And it's been good to be a fan most of the time.
Okay, I like that, because you say that you went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. So this is not the first time you as a fan have went through this style of turmoil as a Green Bay Packers fan. Second time around, does it feel any different?
Well, when you say second time around, I think that it's more than that. Since the last time the Packers have won the Super Bowl, this has happened pretty much every single offseason. There's some sort of storyline about Aaron Rodgers and not getting along with the coach and not getting along with the manager and wanting a bigger contract, or any of those things. And it's been happening every year since then. So when it happened again this year, I was like, well, he's still coming back, because he always does. But this time it was different. It was a little longer than usual, and yeah, that he needed more than just a renegotiated contract. And I do get his perspective. There's a lot of times where the Packers came really close to winning a championship but fell just a little bit short. And there's a lot of years where the Packers were pretty well under the salary cap, and they could have still signed another guy.
I like this. So, in the end, who do you feel is to blame here? Who do you feel like is in the wrong?
For a long time, I had pushed the blame all over the place, as a fan. So, right, since that last Super Bowl, I mean, that was a different time with, Charles Woodson was involved when he was really good. So we're well past that. But for a long time, they kept the same defensive coordinator for years and years with Mike McCarthy, and the defense was just awful for a long time. So I thought that was a big problem for the team. And, the worst examples were good players who were on the Packers who went off to sign with other teams and were even better on their defense, like Casey Hayward or Micah Hyde. And then, and I said, that's just because the defensive coordinator doesn't use them right. But then other people would say, oh, no, it's because they are that good. And what was really happening is the management couldn't keep them together. It's like, okay, And over time, maybe that's what we're really seeing is after this last year where they picked Jordan Love and some other players, they were starting to prepare for life without Rodgers. And instead of, loading up to make more runs and, just make him play out his whole career. And, who cares if you have a couple of bad years at the end of his career because you overinvested in trying to make it, Okay,
I'm going to leave you with this last question, and this one's the big one. In the end all, who do you feel won? Aaron Rodgers or the Packers?
That's tough. I would say it's Aaron Rodgers' win because he got what he wanted for the most part, and the Packers sort of got what they wanted because he's back and he's going to play this year. That's helpful. It's better than him sitting out and then paying him a bunch to not have him around. It's much better for them if he's not there and they don't have to pay him. Right. So I'd say it's more of Aaron Rodgers' win, but it's not like an entire total loss for the Packers. They still get something out of it. And they have another chance to repair the relationship here. And they could do it. But, we'll have to wait and see if they do.
Okay, fantastic. Let everybody know where they can see your blog, especially for all of our fantasy football listeners.
All right. My blog site is on Blogger. It's called it's jacobsfantasyfootball.blogspot.com. But the best way to get me is probably through Twitter, where my name there is Jake's F Football, and that's probably the best way to get at it.
Okay, fantastic. I appreciate you for coming on. We are going to transition to our next guest. All right. Brandon, introduce yourself. Let everybody know a little bit about you.
What's going on, man? What's going on? Yeah, Brandon, you can find me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's where I live right now. As you can kind of see behind me a little bit, we're celebrating this Bucks championship. We're celebrating Aaron Rodgers back in training camp. The Brewers are in first place. Tony, there's not a whole lot, wrong in the world right now other than, real life stuff, I guess. Sports wise, we're doing pretty good.
Milwaukee fans on top of the world
for now.
All right. I like this. So that leads me to this question. It sounds like you feel overall positive about this resolution between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yeah. I heard you previously talking to the guy before me. Shout out to Jake. He's awesome. It's a win-win for everybody, Tony. And I'm going to tell you why. The Packers won because they get the MVP quarterback back. Aaron Rodgers won because he got that third year voided. He's locked in for, we'll say 2 years. It's probably going to be one unless they work out an extension. But the Packers brought that quarterback back. Along with bringing that quarterback back, you were able to acquire Randall Cobb. Now, obviously, that was something that Aaron Rodgers had stressed out that he wanted the Packers front office to do. So it's a kind of a win for him. He kind of gets what he's been looking for as far as that possession type receiver, that trust factor that he has with Randall Cobb. And look, if it all works out, Aaron Rodgers is going to be paid handsomely again, whether he does play with Green Bay after the 2022 season. He'll obviously have to restructure that contract, or he's going to go to a team that he wants to go to via trade. And so really it is a positive attitude, a little positive vibe going around training camp, around that locker room. Now everybody's kind of having a lot of fun with it. The drama, so to speak, is just kind of evaporated. Thank God.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's I'll be at training camp this weekend. So I'll be able to have a better feeling, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's so far so good.
Okay, I like this. I like this a lot because you touched on some things that I think are very important. The first one I say is, how confident are you that this is Aaron Rodgers' last year as the Packers?
I do not think it is his last year. I think Aaron Rodgers, yeah. And Ian Rappaport was actually on the NFL Network. It was like 2 days ago, I want to say. And it didn't really make news. It didn't make the Twittersphere. But he had the feeling, he said, and I'm paraphrasing Ian Rappaport, of course, he said that he has the feeling that Aaron Rodgers will be playing with Green Bay beyond 2022. Now, look, Green Bay, it's no secret. Green Bay drafted Jordan Love. We don't know what we have in Jordan Love. I don't know if Jordan Love knows what Jordan Love has in Jordan Love. So, I mean, if we're just keeping it 100, that's just the reality of it. He hasn't played in an NFL game yet. He hasn't even put on a uniform yet. So I think that you're going to see a guy, he has been quoted actually today, that he is working on a positive relationship with general manager Brian Gutekunst. Now, what does that mean? That's where we think the rift is with him, because we don't know. It's not the players, it's not the coaching staff. That Green Bay doesn't have an owner, so it's not that.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Aaron went out of his way to say it's none of those people.
Exactly. Repeat like a few times too, like not just once. So if he's working on the relationship, if Green Bay, look, we heard about, he was on SportsCenter with Kenny Mayne. It's about the people, is what he said repeatedly. Jordy Nelson, guys like Charles Woodson, Julius Peppers. If Green Bay's front office can gain that trust back with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers can look at them and be like, okay, I'm feeling what you're telling me. You went out and got Randall Cobb. You did what I asked. I wanted that to happen. Now, according to Brian Gutekunst, the GM of the Green Bay Packers, that was something they had been working on for a few months. So,
do you believe that?
I do, because I think what was happening was, obviously Randall Cobb wasn't like impossible to get. Like, costing him a 6th round draft pick.
Yeah,
but I just don't know if they knew he was coming back. I really don't. And Adam Schefter was out there talking about he was contemplating retirement. Aaron Rodgers came out in his press conference and absolutely he said that verbatim. Like, look, I wasn't sure if I was going to play again. So I do think that they were unsure if he was coming back. Once he was coming back, then they probably got the wheels turning for Randall Cobb. And within 2 days, Randall Cobb was in Green Bay.
Okay, that makes sense because y'all drafted Amari Rodgers, I think it is.
Yep.
He's basically he ideally y'all wanted him to play the Randall Cobb-esque role.
Yep.
So I thought that was very interesting. I want to ask you this question: did this whole kerfuffle situation change your outlook on either Aaron Rodgers or Packers management?
It gave me a negative outlook on Aaron Rodgers, and
okay,
I'll tell you why. Don't go on Instagram and post a picture of The Last Dance. There's 2 things, and you'll appreciate this.
Okay.
You're not Michael Jordan. So just let that be known. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's my favorite quarterback. He's in my opinion, Tony, I think he's the most gifted thrower of the football. Now, obviously, Tom Brady's more decorated, and Joe Montana, we can go back and forth. Patrick Mahomes will eventually probably surpass them all. But as it stands right now, I think he's the most gifted thrower of the football. When you talk about winning, and you talk about that being important to you, and you talk about your legacy being something you value, you don't want to go out. He's said it numerous times. I don't want to go out like Brett Favre. I want to end my career in Green Bay. And then you go to back-to-back NFC championship games, and where he fails to realize he has not played good in any one of those games. They beat the Chicago Bears. He beat Caleb Haney, like the 3rd string quarterback for the Chicago Bears. That was the only NFC championship game he has been to, or excuse me, that he has won. So when it comes to winning and it comes to doing the things that you say you want to do, and then the season ends, and then all of a sudden you're mad about people that were let go 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Look, under Brian Gutekunst, the only guy that he has released that Aaron Rodgers has been upset about has been Jake Kummerow. Everybody else, Jordy Nelson, Charles Woodson, Julius Peppers, all these guys were from Ted Thompson.
That is an interesting thing. I did not know that.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Maybe not understand, but like you said, maybe they just don't know. Under Brian Gutekunst, he's only been here. This is going to be his 4th year. So he only goes back to 2018. That was his first year.
4 years, 2 NFC championship games.
It's not bad. So, when it comes down to it, and here's my thing, like you're on Instagram, you're putting out photos and you're on vacation. And, if there's a rift with the ownership, or excuse me, with the general manager, with the front office, don't leave, a whole fan base left in the dark. We were there. A lot of us were there in 2008 when it was the Aaron Rodgers versus Brett Favre thing. And when they traded Brett Favre and they took on Aaron Rodgers, we had Aaron Rodgers' back. The majority of the fan base stood behind Aaron Rodgers, and we have been there ever since. Now, you dragged a whole offseason on draft night. Who you think that was leaked by the Packers? No, that was leaked by Aaron Rodgers. Adam Schefter leaked it. Adam Schefter and Aaron Rodgers share the same agent.
Oh, okay.
David Dunn. So if you're going to tell me that the Packers front office leaked that 8 hours before a draft class, you took the attention from all those kids, all those guys that earned, to be drafted in the first round that night. You kind of took the attention away from them. And every time there was a draft pick, I know you probably remember that they went right back to talking about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
it was big. It was big. We live streamed that draft situation.
Right. So it got petty. And he's a 37-year-old guy. You've won. He's a Super Bowl winner, 3-time MVP. Look, I'm not asking you to come out and tell, everybody what exactly is wrong, but he could have easily addressed it saying, hey, I love Green Bay. I love the coaches. I'm working with the front office. Here's what's going on. And it would have been a completely avoidable, situation. Instead, Tony, we're at 5 months. We were dragged through this since February all the way up until now. And we didn't know the night before camp if he was coming back. We did not know. People were tracking his plane.
All right, I'm with you. So before you head off, let people know where they can reach you, get some of your content.
Yeah, a couple different ways. You can follow me personally on Twitter. You can see at the bottom of the screen at Wisco_Brandon. You can follow. I have 2 different podcasts. I do a Packers podcast at Titletown Lounge. And then also I do a Bucks and a Milwaukee Brewers podcast. And you can find that at Brew City Pod. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, all that good stuff at Brew City Pod. And every week we're coming out with new stuff.
All right. I appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. We have one more guest for you all coming through. Another diehard Packers fan. How's it going? Introduce yourself.
Boy. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you too, Dave.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It has.
We got the message on the hair, right?
Yes. Growing it out. I like it.
My name is Dave. I've been a Packers fan since I started watching football. And so, I was listening to your content with these other guys. It was really great feedback. And one of the different things is I'm not a content producer, right? Like I'm more of a content consumer, right? So, from a strictly fan perspective, that's one of the things that's a little bit different from me and these other guys with the blogs and the podcasts and things like that.
All right. I like this. Then as a fan, I have a good question for you. At what point in this whole standoff, just consuming all the media stuff, etc., did you flip on Aaron Rodgers?
I think part of it was hard because you didn't know what was going on. Okay. Right. And there was so much uncertainty. He wasn't really saying anything. You kind of had these beautiful mystery quotes and, you had the match against Tom Brady where he wasn't really saying anything. Even before that, he was at the Derby. And I think like Mike Tirico tried to get him to say something and he wasn't saying a whole lot. And so I was frustrated with that. But I don't think I got to the point where I turned. You know what I mean? Where I really turned on him, but I was frustrated. I was frustrated. Kind of echoing what Brandon said at the last bit there was, you could have cleared it up. You could have said something, and he chose not to. And whether that's because he wanted to let things, kind of happen behind closed doors, and that was his professional opinion, or whether he knew that he just wanted to let that simmer, to gain leverage. Like, I don't know. We'll probably never know. But it was frustrating. It was definitely frustrating.
Okay, then in the resolution, this is my biggest question: is just like, who do you think won, Aaron or the Packers?
It's really hard to say. I mean, Ryan or Rob Bukowski from the Peter Bukowski off of the Locked On Packers segment kind of described it as it's kind of like if you're dating someone in college, right? And like graduation is coming up, and you're sort of like, all right, like, I know that when I leave here, like, you're probably going somewhere else, and like, you kind of know it too. But like, hey, like, we're sophomores, we're juniors. Why don't we'll just ride it out, for a couple of years here, and then we kind of both know we're going to go our separate ways. I don't know if it's that kind of a situation or not. I mean, I don't think we know what level of aggravation Rodgers feels with mostly Brian Gutekunst, it seems, or maybe Murphy. I don't know, but with some of those guys in the front office, right? I mean, if it's true that he was willing to retire, what do the Packers have to do this season in order to like give him input? Like, what does that mean? What does it look like? If he feels that, like, does he stick around for 2022? Maybe. His cap hit, they got to extend Davante Adams. They got to pay Alexander. Like, do the Packers decide if they don't win a Super Bowl this year that now they have the ability to just punt and try to like pay some of these other dudes and try to, strike while the iron's hot and get something back for them? I don't know. So in a way, it's like they both sort of maintained a little bit of leverage. I think Rodgers wants to win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
He's a competitive guy. Like, we all know that, right? Like, he can be kind of prickly, but most of it is because he's super competitive. He didn't have any leverage to do anything this year outside of go back to Green Bay and win a Super. What's he going to do? Is he going to just like sit out? Is he going to retire? They weren't going to trade him. So it's like you either want to win or you don't. Okay. And I think the Packers might want to move on at some point.
Okay.
Maybe they won't.
If you think of the Packers, so it's next year, his cap hit will be $47 million. It'll be near impossible to field a team and pay that cap hit, especially when you got some big contracts coming up like Davante Adams. So it seems like either he'd have to re-up or be traded, and trading him can save anywhere between $19 million and $27 million to put everywhere else on the team. And that leads me to this question: where's your panic meter on Jordan Love?
I gotta say, it's pretty high. Like, I don't think many people are willing to say that. I think a lot of people are like, we don't know. He hasn't played in any games. We don't know what we have. And you know what? Like, that's what I don't like. We don't know what we have. And when you are a Green Bay Packers fan, you have had certain luxuries that other teams have not had. I mean, you've had 30 plus years of like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's an unprecedented level of continuity at quarterback, of consistency in performance. You are a contender for the Super Bowl every year. Maybe not every year, but like almost every year. And you're going to go from that to, we don't know. I don't like that. And I hope I'm wrong, right? Like, I want to be wrong. I hope he comes out in these preseason games. Some of it's not Jordan Love's fault. As a matter of fact, I would say all of it's not Jordan Love's fault, right? Like, he didn't ask to get drafted here. He didn't ask for it to be COVID, where he got like no OTAs, where he got like no work and reps in with the team, where he got no preseason games, where he got like, no games last year, right? So it's like, it's not his fault. But like, from a fan perspective, I want to be able to continue a tradition where we might be able to win a Super Bowl.
Okay, this is big for me because it seemed I think it was Brandon talked about the 2 Last Dance photos. with Adams and Rodgers. Does this whole kerfuffle give you some, I don't know, queasiness about the current Davante Adams contract negotiations?
It has to. It has to. I just kind of feel like there are a lot of people who are saying, don't panic. Negotiations break off like all the time. The Packers tend to retain the guys that are studs, that are high quality players. Adams is obviously that. He is, I think, unquestionably the best wide receiver in the league.
Unquestionably.
I think so.
Rep it hard. Rep it. Look.
I think so.
Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, they might have something to say about that.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. But the style of Davante's play is one that is, I think, just very, very sustainable in the long term, right? Like, he's a guy who's got a solid frame, but he plays with finesse. He's sneaky, right? His route running is like real fluid. He's always improving that. So it's not like he's a guy that has to just like go up and like body somebody for a ball, right? Like, that's not going to be his style of play. So you're going to want a guy like him to provide continuity. And, I want him around. And he is at least made clear what he wants. He's like, I want to get paid wide receiver #1 money. And Brian Gutekunst came out and said, like, we want to pay you that kind of money, but there's a disagreement about what that means. And I think it falls back on this DeAndre Hopkins contract. I think that's the thing.
That's how it works. The next guy up always tries to shatter the barrier from the guy before.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm nervous. Okay. It would be a real shame for Packer fans. I mean, maybe we could stomach it, I think, if we win a Super Bowl. If the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers is like, I won a Super Bowl, I don't think he's going to be done, first of all. I think if they win a Super Bowl, the Packers are going to be like, well, we're going to offer you an extension. Let's get this cap down. We'll figure out what we're going to do with Joe. I mean, if he wants the legacy and he really wants to continue playing, and then they're like, we're just going to have to figure out what to do with Jordan Love, because what are we going to do? Trade the quarterback that won the Super Bowl?
I mean, like, he seems like he wants to be traded.
Maybe, but does that change if he wins the Super Bowl and he's like, I can run it back with another one? I'll restructure so that Adams can come back, and then we do like Last Dance 2.0. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But I think the Packer fan base might be able to stomach being like, we won a Super Bowl. We get it. All these guys want to go get paid. Rodgers just wants out, and we'll rebuild. Maybe they could stomach it. Maybe it'll be the opposite. I don't know.
Okay. I like that. That was very helpful. I appreciate you for coming on.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Yes. All right, Dave. Thank you.